First part, the arrival. The old mansion on Willow Street stood silent as the family arrived one by one, their footsteps echoing through the marble hall. Grandma Eleanor waited in her armchair, her hands trembling slightly, not from age, but from the fear that she knew exactly why they had come. Daniel entered first, wearing a smile so fake it almost cracked. Inside, he felt impatience twisting like a knot in his stomach. Let's just get this over with, he thought, already calculating numbers in his head. Claire followed, pretending to be cheerful, but her eyes were cold. She felt irritated that she had to miss a weekend with her friends just to visit the old woman. Eleanor watched them with a soft, hopeful expression. Her heart ached with a quiet longing. She wanted to believe they still cared, truly cared about her. But deep inside, a small voice whispered that they didn't come for hugs or memories. They came for something else entirely. And as the heavy front door closed behind them, the house seemed to tighten around their emotions, holding secrets in every shadow. 2. Uneasy conversations. Dinner felt like a battlefield disguised as a family meal. Forks clinked, but no one truly spoke. Daniel forced polite questions, yet irritation hid behind every word. Claire scrolled her phone under the table, rolling her eyes whenever Eleanor tried to engage her. Eleanor sensed the coldness like a draft. Her heart tightened. She had dreamed of warm conversations, laughter, stories. Instead, she felt like a burden sitting at her own table. She tried to stay cheerful, but her voice trembled with quiet disappointment. Daniel watched her closely, calculating again. She's getting older. Maybe she'll finally talk about inheritance. Claire, exhausted and bored, wondered why they even bothered visiting unless there was something to gain. 3. Shadows of greed. The next morning, Daniel and Claire stood in the dim hallway whispering. Daniel's eyes burned with frustration. We need to know her plans. What if she gives everything to charity? Claire shrugged, but her expression darkened. She might. She always loved helping strangers more than us. There was bitterness in her tone, bitterness born not from truth, but from guilt she didn't want to admit. Eleanor overheard only fragments. Her stomach twisted. Their voices sounded sharp, cruel, nothing like the children she once held in her arms. She stepped back quietly, feeling a bruise form inside her chest. 4. First climax, the explosion. That afternoon, Eleanor decided to speak honestly. She mentioned she had been considering donating part of her wealth to hospitals and orphanages. The room went silent, violently silent. Daniel's face hardened in shock. Claire's eyebrows shot up, disbelief turning quickly into anger. 5. Night of regrets. The house was silent again, but this time from exhaustion, not peace. Claire sat in the kitchen alone. The dim light cast long shadows, and guilt wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. She remembered summer days when Eleanor braided her hair, taught her to bake, told stories under the apple trees. Asterisk, how did I become someone who shouts at her? Asterisk, she whispered to herself. Daniel, in his room, felt a different storm. He paced, furious at Eleanor, but furious at himself too, though he refused to admit it. She owes us, he muttered, clinging to the lie because it hurt less than the truth. 6. Pressure in the dark. Daniel's anger hardened. He convinced himself that confronting Eleanor again was necessary, that he had to protect the family's future. It wasn't love. It wasn't duty. Just fear of losing money he didn't even own. Meanwhile, Claire couldn't sleep. Her chest felt tight, her eyes burning from trying not to cry. She wanted to apologize, but shame kept her frozen. Eleanor, alone in her room, stared out the window. A cold sadness pressed against her ribs. She wondered how love could fade so easily. 8. The silence after the storm. No one spoke for a long time. The house felt painfully quiet. Daniel stared at the floor, unable to meet Eleanor's eyes. Claire sobbed softly, whispering broken apologies. Eleanor felt older than ever before, but also strangely relieved. The truth was out. The pretending was over. Now there was only silence. And the chance to choose who they wanted to become. 9. Soft steps toward healing. The following days were calmer. Claire apologized first, her voice shaking as she hugged Eleanor tightly. Something warm flickered back into Eleanor's heart, a tiny spark of hope. 10. A new kind of inheritance. Before the family left, Eleanor revealed her decision. Her fortune would be shared, but with conditions. They must continue to visit, help one another, and stay connected as a real family. Daniel and Claire exchanged looks. This time there was no greed, only understanding. Eleanor smiled softly, touched their hands, and whispered, "Money fades. Love stays only if you choose it."